Sarazin Blake from The Kitchen Table. My name is Robert Sarazin Blake. This is The Kitchen Table, and always on my side is my associate, David Penderlochran, who connects the screens, the cables, and the ones and the zeros, bringing our kitchen table to your kitchen table, wherever you may be, up north in Canada or south in Florida or maybe over in Europe or Japan. I don't know what time it is in Japan, but I hope you're tuning in, and we're glad to have you. There's always room for one more at The Kitchen Table. And we have a special guest this week. We're broadcasting not from the most northwest corner, the most northwest city, the most northwest state in the lower 48. No, we're not broadcasting from Bellingham, my home. We're broadcasting from Everett, about 60 miles south of Bellingham, which means we have a very special guest, Jason Webley, the Bard of Everett, the Riverboat Bard, will be joining us. And here we are. We have a beautiful view of the Puget Sound, and as just got started here, the Lady Washington, the tall ship, a sailing schooner. There was a discussion earlier whether or not it was rectangle rigged, square rigged, and well, there was a bit of dispute over that, even though the man on my left, David Penderlochran, was sailing on the Lady Washington. That's why he ended up in this part of the world. So how beautiful to have that ship out there. I wish there was a way that people could take a photo and put a photo in the comments, because then we could take a photo of the Lady Washington. But you can't. Facebook won't let you do that. I don't know why. Here we are. You take what you got, and it turns into a memory. Well, memory's all you got. You keep it like a family and go to another place, like an island or a century, where the leaves stay red and the morning don't come early. Where I'm waiting, it's true. Oh, I'm waiting for you. The time will turn to seed, all water and all weed, all my growing garden when the fruit it blooms, all pickle and preserve. And when you return, I will offer you my burden, saying I've been waiting, it's true. Oh, I've been waiting, with another in your hand. If the green turns to black, the dirt shifts to sand, will return to the earth. Sweet fruit, decay, and 3 dried tongues, one love note saying that I was waiting, it's true. Oh, I was waiting for you. All right. Lively crowd here in Everett. Somebody called Everett a suburb. I don't think Everett's a suburb. Everett's a city. It's one of the oldest cities in the area, right? One of the old, yeah. Yeah, Jason in the audience pointed out that I did exactly what I was not trying to do. I just said, I almost said it's one of the oldest cities in Seattle. Well, no, now come on now. One of the oldest cities in the region. All was about the railroads out here. The railroad was going to land in Bellingham or Everett or Seattle. And near as I can tell, the railroad goes all those places right now. But at a time, it only went to one of those. And was, Jason, do you know, was Everett? No, we don't want to talk about it. No. We'll talk. Well, we do want to talk about. We'll talk about it later, because.
The Great Northern Railway terminated in Everett, and Rockefeller spent a bunch of money to make Everett to receive it.
Jason, we're going to get this entire story from you when the TV audience can hear you, because they can't hear you right now, and these people can hear you now. They're feeling very anxious for your set of the program because they have half the story. But here we are, and. Everett nonetheless, and people are crawling in. Oh, Bruce is in the house. Bruce made it over from Lake Forest Park, which is definitely a suburb. There's no question about that. The railroad at no point was going to land at Lake Forest Park. When I was growing up in the Seattle region, I painted houses, and my boss would always make a joke about Lake Forest Park. They said, they got one of each over there. I guess it was funnier at the time. That's the way life goes. Well, one thing we've started here at the kitchen table irregulars are the people who watch with us every week, and they decided at some point that we should all have a drink together, whether you're at your kitchen table in Guelph, Ontario, or whether you're in St. Louis or Buffalo. So we are having gin and tonics. The irregulars are having gin and tonics. I noticed the in-person crowd did not get the note, and we didn't bring enough gin to share. So here's the thing about it. It's cold. And this is the thing. Somebody suggested gin and tonics in May, and I made the comment to the regulars that in Washington State, that's too early for gin and tonics. And then someone said, well, June should be fine, and I didn't have the heart to tell them. It's not fine, but we're going to do it anyways. To the irregulars, new and old, here at the kitchen table. As we crawl out of the COVID experience, we get to see our family members again, the extended family, and it brings a smile to my face. We got to talking about the teenagers who are in the extended family and who will be getting the driver's license and who has the driver's license and what did we do when we had the driver's license, which reminded me, well, the story came up of how we could pack vehicles. And my favorite moment of packing a vehicle was when I was in Ireland a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago. And my buddy Dave, I have affinity for a fellow's named Dave, I guess it should be. My buddy Dave would set up the PA and drive to the gigs, and he would arrange some opening acts from his town. And so we would be going to the gigs often, about 5 of us in his small sedan with the PA system. And maybe sometimes people arrived from different places, so there were more people going home than there were going there. And that's how we ended up with a situation where there were 2 men in the front seat and my guitar in the front seat, the driver in the driver's seat, 4 men sitting in the back bench of the sedan, a bunch of speakers on top of them, and my buddy Eddie Keenan on top of the speakers hugging the top roof of the sedan. He had to be sort of squeezed in by the driver, and then the driver could get in. And it was a team experience to navigate the roads because clearly the visibility was not good for the driver, so we all had to play our role in the driving. So that's what you don't do to the teenagers of my extended family and other extended family. That's dangerous. Don't do that. But it was very funny. It was very, very funny. This David here was with myself down in Clonakilty, and we did a gig at Shanley's Bar, and after the gig we were looking at photos on the wall, and there was a photo of this guy, Shay Healy, and I'd never heard of Shay Healy, and the publican, wonderful woman, Philomena, she said, Shay Healy. And I didn't ask any more questions. I was just like, that's good enough. That's good enough. So I looked up Shay Healy, and we got his record through the miracle of all the technology. You can have any record anytime you want, and there we were the next day listening to Shay Healy and this wonderful song. And Shay Healy it just passed away this winter, and he had a good long life. I don't know how long he made it. Don't know too much about him, but I love this song. When my life is over, I become a bit of stardust out there in the heavens, way beyond the blue. And if you want to see me gaze into the night sky, I'll be up there shining sprinkle them down on you. Stars are made to wish on. You can wish upon me, and I'll do what I can to make your dreams come true. Cry away your tears now. Soul goes on forever. Maybe we can meet again when you become stardust too. Every life's a story. Mine is no exception. I've had a few adventures, lots of up and downs. When destiny came calling, she knew just where to find me. I was always in the back room, laughing with the clowns, and in my role as jester, I hope that I amused you. And along the line we shared a smile or two. Cry away your tears now. Souls go on forever. Maybe we can meet again when you become stardust too. Memories are special. I hope that you remember our happy times together with family around. I found my special glory writing songs and stories, matching up the right words with a perfect sound. If there's a choir in heaven, I hope they'll let me join them. I'll sing out my harmonies the way I do. Cry away your tears now. Souls go on forever. Maybe we can meet again when you become stardust too. Cry away your tears now. Souls go on forever. Maybe we can meet again when you become stardust too. From Shay Haley. And the sun has come out here on the kitchen table. We are all hunkered down for the weather that's so far not with us. But yeah. very much. We drove down here in some very serious rain, and it was pouring as we got set up, but I am layering down. That is feeling pretty good to be layering down. It's a tough situation to be in. You know, you want to celebrate the heat of the moment, but not too much. Not too much that you feel entitled to it. You want to celebrate it with a humbleness and gratitude. Otherwise, well, it's for those of you at home audience, because I know the audience here is well aware of this. June has a nickname. It's called January. We always have some nice warm days in June, and we just had some hot, legitimately hot weather, which we have very little of. But now it's January. So we just settle in, and 4th of July will come, and 70% of Americans will be vaccinated, and we'll be having a picnic. And around here, we'll have sunshine. But until then, we're going to just be looking out at the sky. And I'm rattling away here without giving proper notice that this is the third song check-in. We got to check in with the audience at home and see what's going on out there. We pass the microphone over to the producer over here to see what's going on in comment land.
Thank you, Robert. So, for those viewing live, what you don't realize is that while you're sitting quietly and watching attentively to the show, there is a whole gaggle of folks all over the world just sort of chirping away on Facebook, commenting on everything from the clouds behind us. Apparently, they look cool on the camera. All of the irregulars are here, including Billiam Kurtz Gerald, all the way from Guelph, Ontario, and Judy, of course, Clay Fried, and Kimberly Sabin, the fearless leader of the Bellingham Irregulars Facebook page, which somehow is attached to this live stream, as far as I understand. And if you're watching at home and you would like more information, or if you want to feel like you're getting a deeper sense of what's happening at the show, you can join the Facebook Irregulars Bellingham. The Facebook From the Kitchen Table Irregulars group. And just before the show here, I posted some photos of what's going on the other side of the camera. Very interesting. Some setup photos of the various umbrellas that we have precariously perched above the things that we were worried about getting wet. And it appears that everyone showed up with their gin and tonics this week, Robert.
Very good, very good.
Catherine Broom, who was the original G&T suggester, I believe.
That was way back in May. Catherine, it was just out of line.
And Catherine said
out of line.
It was 87 back in May when I suggested G&Ts. And that's about all of the news from the Irregular group.
Good. And as always, I'd like to remind people we do have a digital tip jar and in this room, a cash tip jar. So please, we do spread that money around. We give Jason some digital money and David some digital money. And then we take that digital money to the digital food co-op. Actually, the co-op itself is physical, but you put the card in there. I mean, it's all just kind of this magic thing that happens until it doesn't happen. So we're hoping that with your contributions, it will keep happening. Love it when it rains and you hear it on the rooftop, plucking plinkett, dug for all the fire, beans on simmer, put on a record by Louis Ledford. I love it when it rains. I love it when it rains and you see it. Bubbles on the window, psychedelic. The cloud up, staring through it. I'm getting lost, deeper into it. I love it when it rains. I love it when it rains. The clouds swell up. It's pretty clear it's not gonna stop. Pittsburgh, catch a can. Bellingham, Maine, Bergen, Belfast, Aberdeen. Wish I could see you again, though nothing will be what it's been. A cup of coffee, a mug of tea, I only get to see you in my dreams, so I love it when it rains. I love it when it rains, and you feel it. Let it sing, let me be near it. You're calling, I don't want to miss it. Open my arms and greet it. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm very excited to announce that as of 1st of July, I will be resuming my residency at the Boundary Bay Beer Garden. I played 19 summers straight. We took last summer off. Well, actually, we did the kitchen table on Thursday to celebrate that, and we'll be going back. And this would be a great opportunity for me to say, David, are you available July 1st to join me there? Yeah. You know, even though I'm asking you about a gig that we've done together for many years, I kind of felt like that feeling people might get for engagement on stage. It felt very heavy. There's a couple buckets of material I have, and one bucket is what I call the solo folk show, and then there's the party show, and then there's the party show, then there's a happy hour show, because you can't just do all ballads all the time. You have to have a little bit of levity if you're going to tell people it's happy hour. So there's a few party songs. Let's kind of get into a little bit of that zone here. Well, the neighbor's party sounds pretty good. I want to go over, but I don't think I should. I got an early morning and a trip to the vet. I got a little gal, the name is Colette. She wants me in the morning upright and strong, but I want to party all night long. Well, the neighbor's party sounds pretty good. Want to go over, but I don't think I should. I got an early morning and a trip to the vet. I got a little girl, her name's Colette. Wants me in the morning upright and strong, but I want to party all night long. There was a big old man who was playing on the fiddle. Little bitty gal, she was dancing in the middle. Went in the kitchen to get something to eat. Each hand I had a little bit of something to drink. I was feeling good and I was feeling fine. Never made it back to that house of mine. Oh, the neighbor's party sounds pretty good. I want to go over, but I don't think I should. I got an early morning and a trip to the vet. I got a little girl, her name's Colette. Wants me in the morning upright and strong, but I want to party all night long. jam session. It was getting real good. There were drums, there was bass, and the organ on the hood. Everybody was singing, everybody was dancing. Somebody was off in the dark romance. This was a party. How can I say? I did not go home until the break of day. Oh, the neighbors, party sounds pretty good. Wanna go over, but I don't think I should. I got an early morning and a trip to the vet. I got a little girl named Colette. Wants me in the morning, upright and strong, but I wanna party. David! Rolling by. There's not a lot of cars in the Amtrak, you know. But I just got this. I'm just a beacon of news right now. I heard through my wonderful Uncle Warner that the service between Chicago and Seattle is now back to daily service. Back to daily service. There's nothing like that long ride. 2.5 days on a train and your mind gets altered. Especially, I think I haven't done it since I got the smartphone. Maybe 2.5 days on a train with a smartphone could be a lot like just staying at home, depending on your use of the smartphone. I mean, but I love the way the time slows down on a long train ride. You're just sitting there, you know? Just sitting there. And other people have to get off, but you're not having to get off. You're just sitting there. And then you're getting closer. And then sometime deep in that, well, it's kind of early in that second day, at some point, you realize you're 2 hours away from your destination. And you start panicking because you got to get your gear together. I mean, you spread out. You've moved into your Amtrak seat like you've moved into your parents' house for a summer after college, and it doesn't look like you're going to leave. You got everything in the right place, in the right pockets, and 2 hours is just not enough time to get ready to get off. But you do. You get off. I mean, they make you get off eventually in Chicago. Got a feeling that it ain't gonna work. So I'm a feeling like some kind of jerk. Got a feeling that it ain't gonna work. But if you wanna try it, oh well, why not? I got a feeling that it ain't gonna work. Got a feeling that I just better go. Cause I'm a feeling that I've been down this road before. Got a feeling that I just better go. But if you wanna try it, oh well, why not? I got a feeling that it ain't gonna work. Got a feeling that I ain't gonna stay for breakfast. Cause I'm already feeling a little bit restless. Got a feeling that I ain't gonna stay for breakfast. But if you wanna try it, oh well, why not? I got a feeling that it ain't gonna work. This time when I say help, you say... That's an option. See, and for the at-home viewers, they can type anything, you know. But I was going to suggest that they type, you know. You say, they type. When I say help, it's really actually not too complicated at all. I say help, you say.
Hi.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but we're going to get there. Anybody have any ideas on the comments? It's hard to say because it's hard to both play Bowron, read the comments, pay attention to what I'm doing, and drink a gin and tonic all at the same time. So we've lost. I say help, you say help. Song's written by my friend James Taylor. Not that James Taylor. I don't know him. But I know James Michael Taylor from Houston, Texas, who I met at the Kerrville Folk Festival. We played the song. I said, James, can I learn your song? He said, yeah, you can learn my song. Beautiful song. I say help, you say, yeah, now we're getting into it. I mean, it was a chirp of a help, but it was yet an indication of where we might go together as a group, both gathered, sharing outdoor air, vaccinated outdoor air. And those who are at home sharing what kind of air they want to share in their own home with whoever they want to share the air with. Nobody's telling you what you can do in your own home here now with the shared air, but the shared air outside gets complicated. He said help. Those who cried for his existence, he said help. Campground echoed his resistance. I see him in the distance. I responded his insistence. He said help. They flowed down with the water, not a scream. Just a word and not much louder. A statement, not a shout. Held his head up like an otter. He said help. The swelling tide did lift him. He said help. Sand beneath his feet was shifting. Lost his footing, he was drifting. Well, the hands of time constrict him. He said help. I got sunflowers, tomatoes, winter beans, and summer squash. I got roses piled with coffee, but the summer is awash. Thunder and there's the lightning coming across the distant plain. Although I love the fireworks, what I really need is rain. He said help. Not like he was dying, he just said help. It was me that did the eye, and our time had come, there's no denying. Like a puppy's gentle cry, and he said help. No, I was rushing into trouble, he said help. I knew the drowning could be double, and I must avoid a struggle with the boy who burst the bubble. He said help. Oh, why can't I forget it? He said help. But to forget is not permitted. We can't stop once we're committed. I'm confused and I admit it. He said help. We were meant to meet that day, bobbing in the current. You can't hold destiny at bay when you're stripped of all the turns, and the scene will replay. Yes, the river scene recurs. He said help. Somewhere he had a mother. He said help. A sister and a brother. Where was his child's father? As I splashed into the water, he said help. I said, son, don't stop trying. He said help. And it was me that did the eye, and our time had come, there's no denying. Like a puppy's gentle cry, and he said help. Open up the faucet, water comes out of the hose. Gurgle, gurgle, splitter, splatter on the grackles and the crows. Montrose like it's boiling, river sounds in miniature. Every day I think about it. Every day I think about it. Every day I think about it, but I'm never really sure. He said help. Oh, we're having a good time here at the kitchen table. You're all very welcome at the kitchen table. There's always room for one more at this kitchen table, and we're going to do one more song and then have one more guest, one more musician join us here. My old pal Jason Webley, whom I've known for at least 20 years. We've been sort of seeing each other from time to time, and it's a pleasure to have him here at the kitchen table. So he has the one song, Warning. I don't know why, but I got to thinking about my friend Mike Miranda of the band called The Mammals from West Hurley, New York, which is really Woodstock, New York, because Woodstock is a small town, but it's a big area that we all kind of have a relationship with because of a festival that didn't take place there at all. Somehow I'm thinking about Mike and I'm going to sing his song here, one of my favorite songs of his. Well, I'd say it's my favorite song of his. But I'm hoping he writes more so that, you know, there's competition. Well, the pills she pops, they're a tricky mix. 15 minutes later, everything just clicks. She answers phones for some hypocrites. When the meters tick, the policeman gets his fix. Singing notes from underground. Well, the festival freaks, they will tell you what's profound, but the details are as fuzzy as the second stage sound. And the word on the street is that it's happening underground, between the artists and deceivers, so many lost just to be found. There's no one here is satisfied just to be around. We want such shimmering status, but we hunt it like a hound, singing notes from underground. I help pay for a therapist, even those appointments that she missed. But I had to see her sane, I could not resist, as we tried to keep each other off the endangered species list. 'Cause the newsman's got deadlines, so he only gets the gist. Well, the truth that has eluded us in the hallways howled and hissed. Notes from underground. I've invited Jason in the middle of the song to come take a look at the backstage area there where his accordion may or may not be taking on weather at this point here. So, with no disrespect to Mike's song, but just respect for the song and for the instruments that might be taking on the weather, we're going to have a little bit of action back here as we segue into the fourth verse. Well, the carpet stains, that's as real as it gets. The sunlight coming through the shades won't let you forget. Your clothes are full of holes from a dozen cigarettes. What was it you were searching for? Why do you feel such regret? 'Cause half of us are waiting for someone we've not yet met, while the rest of us build credit, slipping deeper into debt. Singing notes from underground. She said, why do you always focus on the negative? She said, there's good in all of us, but it runs through like a sieve. She said, you're part of the problem, in a tone I can't forgive. I said, good looking, I'm just an umbrella, and everything is relative. When we went our separate ways, a kiss I took she did not give. Went off feeling broken about these lies we choose to live. Singing notes from underground. Thank you very much. And absolutely my pleasure to welcome to the kitchen table for his very first time. He brought the sunshine with him when he arrived, and he's a very atmospheric performer, and I believe he ordered a little bit of atmospheric rain noise to bring on the vibe. Make him feel welcome here at the kitchen table, at home, and right here, my friend Jason Webley. Uh-oh. Yeah. His mic doesn't seem to be on. Jason, how are you?
I'm good. It's
Yeah.
I was out of practice before COVID. So everyone at home and elsewhere, be warned.
But we're not worried about practicing.
Oh yeah. And I mean, yeah.
Don't do scales or anything for us now.
Well, yeah. A couple of the notes will be the right ones. This is an old song, but even my new songs are old enough that I don't remember them now. I wake up every morning to the sound of motors roaring. They're drowning out the voices in my head. At night while I am sleeping, I can hear the angels speaking, but I can't recall a single thing they said. I see the lips move clearly, I feel the presence near me, but each word they try to tell me just slips through the cracks. I push, I strain, I wrestle with my brain, and then a voice from somewhere whispers to relax. See, I'm so out of practice, I've forgotten that I never sit down and play anything ever. And usually I'm like jumping around, which wouldn't work too well, but just imagine a little more jumping and stomping and... I'll say a word for sickness, she is my favorite mistress. Yes, she knows my body like no other can. My flesh and spirit keep colliding when her fingers are inside me. Oh my God, lady, I'm your man. Fever, flu, malaria, come nibbing and not spare me. I just long to spend another night under attack. I retch, I shake, I cry until I break, and then I feel something release, and I relax. Relax. And this is lots of stomping and jumping here. Sure, I banged my head for days against the walls inside this maze. I've never been too good at this damn kind of thing. I'm in here with my father, I've been facing stronger. He's been building a fantastic set of wings. And like that I'm up and flying with the labyrinth behind me. But I go too high, the sun is melting through the wax. It burns, it hurts, I tumble through the earth. And as I fall, I feel myself relax. Tingle, am I letting go? I hope I'm letting go. I must be letting go. Am I letting go? I think I'm letting go. You must be letting go. We have to let it go. Am I letting go? I think I'm letting go. You must be letting go. We're gonna let it go. Am I letting go? I think I'm letting go. We got to let it go. I'm gonna let it go. I'm letting go. Letting go. Letting go. Finally let it go. Let go. Let go. I'm letting go. Letting go. Letting go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Wake up every morning to the sound of motors roaring. They're still drowning out these voices in my head. The night while I'm sleeping, I still hear the angels speaking, but I can't recall a single thing they said. I see the lips move clearly, I feel their presence near me, but all their unearthly wisdom just slips through the cracks. I pushed, I strained, I wrestle with my brain. I retch, I shake, I cry until I break. It burns, it hurts, I tumble through the earth. And
Is this where we do the lecture on the Great Northern Railway? And
I would I would be happy to. That's no joke at all. Here we are. I'm so used to saying to people that we're broadcasting from the most northwest corner of the most northwest city, the most northwest state in the lower 48.
the second most northwest-ish.
Yeah. But you're more of a city than we are. I think you're about 100,000 people.
What's Bellingham? Like 30,
90.
40? That's the same order of
Yeah,
magnitude.
but you've got the Wobblies going on. You've got the trains going on.
We had some Wobblies, but we killed them. We took care of them.
Well, we remember them. We remember the Wobblies.
I got a song about that, but I probably really don't remember that one. Here's a Bodie song. Yeah, this one's a sing-along if anyone sings along with it. And all my sing-alongs are the same. The sing-along part is always ya-da-da-da-da. Yeah, it's a song about a guy with a boat. His name was Jason. A gray and heavy light clouds the day. It's another in a chain wove out of lead. And you, who once commanded a whole vessel full of heroes, hesitate to lead your own bones out of bed. And it takes a lot to keep an old boat running. It's a lot of hours and gas and oil and paint. But the winds don't get discouraged, the rust does not lack in will, and that deep dark water doesn't mind the weight. You coldly weigh the body at your side. There was a day this woman saved your life, but past promises and passions vanish like some broken magic, and you say you plan to take another wife. And it takes a lot to keep an old boat running. It's a lot of hours and fuel and oil and paint. But the worms don't get discouraged, the rust does not lack in will, and that deep dark water doesn't mind the weight. And yeah, da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da ya da ya da da da. You know the words. Yeah, da da ya da ya da 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 da, ya da ya da ya da 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 da, ya da 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 ya da da da. I see the carpenter who's lost his hammer, the cook short flour, the hunter with no blade. You said a man does not allow his tools to ever leave his reach. Then, Captain, now you tell us how you will apply your trade. 'Cause it takes a lot to keep an old boat running. It's a lot of hours and gas and oil and paint. But the worms don't get discouraged, the rust does not lack in will. And that deep dark water is that deep dark water. And that deep dark water doesn't mind the weight. And yeah, da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da ya da ya da 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 da. I can't hear you. There's a train going by, I still can't hear you. Like sailors. Sailors on a sinking boat. Let's try this thing.
Layering down.
This one's another sing along with the same chorus. I don't know how these mics are going to pick this up, but well, the streets have been swept and the leaves have all washed away. And I find myself stumbling, something I'm trying to say. Yeah, the breathing has stopped, but the hair keeps on growing. The anchor's been dropped, crew keeps on rowing. Hey, Captain, where are we going now? Just the echo remains of the refrain of a drunken song. And I spent all my days asking strangers to sing along. Yeah, the breathing has stopped, the hair keeps on growing. The anchor's been dropped, but the crew keeps on rowing. Hey, Captain, just where are we going now? Yoda, 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 Yoda. Yada, yada, yada. And there's just nothing to lose of the game we've been trying to play. And I can't tell if I'm getting closer or farther away. Yeah, the breathing has stopped, but the hair keeps growing. The anchor's been dropped, but the crew keeps on rolling. Hey, Captain, just where are we going now? Yada, 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 Oh, where are you at? Where are you going? The wind doesn't answer, just keeps on blowing.
Woo! Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Is that about the right amount of things? Should we do another thing?
You got another blast in you?
Let's do something stupid.
All right. All right.
This is.
We've been doing that all along, but never with the intention.
I think that's a good key for this. This is a sing along, and I lied. This one has all sorts of other words, but it's a traditional song I made up some time ago. It's a holiday song for a song that it's a holiday for a song. It's a song for a holiday that there aren't as many songs as I think there ought to be. And when I sat down to write it, I kind of understood why, because you've got to aptly describe two really radically different days of the year. Anyway, this is my stupid solstice song, and I encourage you to sing it as well. Longest night, shortest night, let's all do a pagan rite. Tree in the living room, I don't know why. 2 more weeks till the 4th of July. The apparent position of the sun is at its northernmost extreme, or at its southernmost extreme. Now, let's try it together. Longest night, shortest night, let's all do a pagan rite. Tree in the living room, I don't know why. 2 more weeks till the 4th of July. The apparent position of the sun is at its northernmost extreme, or at its southernmost extreme.
So glad to have you at the kitchen table.
It's nice to be here.
Yes, and just so many thoughts come to mind and feelings come to mind. One of them is that you remind me of reading Django Reinhardt's biography, in which they talk about Paris at a certain point when the accordion came into vogue, how the string musicians were really upset. Because you can do about 8 things over there that it would take 8 other musicians to do. And they called it the demon box. There was all this bad talk about this machine because it was a band in a box. And I felt that when your low notes came in. I was like, that man has a band in his box over there.
Well, yeah, you'd have to learn to do those things, though, to really, inspire that kind of jealousy in anybody. I try to be kind of benign by not really knowing what I'm doing for 20 years.
Well, tell us about this boat, because for those that are tuning in here, and Jason and I've known each other for over 20 years, but to the point we know each other well enough to the point where I know where his house is, but I've never been in it. But I think about it every time I drive on Highway 2 leaving Everett, because I look down.
The world where
Wait, believe me, I've been trying to get there for 20 years, and I still haven't made it.
I've had people anyway.
They've
figure
had
out
people find you.
exactly
Okay,
where
yeah.
I-
So you get on
But you're
Highway
giving
2
them
and
some-
just
you're giving
past
them some pretty good
Snohomish,
help.
just past Snohomish, you see something. Tell us about waking up on a houseboat in a place that you didn't start out going to sleep.
That hopefully will never happen.
Okay, all right.
But-
Just
but,
it crosses the mind of those of us who
yeah,
sleep on land.
One of the first times a lot of people staying in my house will have that dream. I had it early on staying there. It was very peaceful, but I just remember just the dream was that I'd come untethered and I was just sort of floating down this peaceful little stream. The reality would be pretty grim. You'd be out in the Puget Sound pretty quick, and likely to not remain upright. But
I suppose you don't have a motor on your houseboat.
no.
Yeah. Why would you? It's not going anywhere. You got a rope. Being a nautical person living in Everett, you would know the knots.
You'd think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that you know the knots.
I know them not.
Yeah. Well, this is this is the kitchen table here, and I was inspired by this. We started doing this at the very start of the pandemic, and then the format sort of evolved to have guests, and we had guests tuning in through their computers, and then we would, when we would see them on the screen, and the screens would see all the screens. But then as we're warming up, we're able to have people here with us. But my feeling is that when I'm on the road and I play gigs, after the gig, you always end up going back to someone's house and having a few more songs, a few more jars of this, that, or the other thing around the kitchen table. Now, I understand, and you've probably met people who have talked about this, there are actually tall buildings with small rooms with doors that lock, and you can go into those for a certain fee. Now, I don't know too much about it, but I've heard that exists. But what I know about is going to friends' houses, mostly on land, and having a few more songs and jars around the kitchen table after the show. So the show was over. Now we're at the part of the show that's after the show, all happening right here in front of us, which means we're in anything goes sort of situation here. You can really now relax and let it all hang out. I know that.
This is terrifying.
I mean, you started to relax in that first number, so I'm kind of wondering what the relaxed is what's gonna take us.
Yeah, I'll move beyond songs that I no longer know and songs I've never known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works. I'm going to play something, then you're going to play something, and we'll just keep this rolling for a little while. That's the way we do here at the kitchen table. And I didn't have a chance to tell you because I was actually fairly negligent in our correspondence. But there's a part of the show that we're going to do in the third, somewhere between the crossing over from the third to the fourth quarter, called Stump the Band, in which the audience will give us requests, and we will do our best. We'll look at each other, and we'll do our best to fulfill the requests. And, don't worry about it. It's going to go great. It's going to go great.
That sounds perfect. Good,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad I didn't know about this.
Yeah. And I didn't know I was going to play this song until my fingers just started doing it. And then I said, all right, that's what we're doing. In your new life, I hope that you will be free from the demons that ravished you when you were loving me. In my new life, I hope that I will do the things I thought I couldn't, 'cause I was loving you. New life, don't forget your old stories. Don't let them get you heavy, just let them be. In my new life, I won't walk with regret, wondering what we'd be if I'd never left. If I had never left. If I those who are kind to you. Don't act as though it was all meant for you. In your new life, I hope you will be gentle with your body and your mind. Take it easy in time, not like it was when you were mine. Harshness all the time, harshness all the time. Harshness all the time. In my new life, I hope I am more patient than I was when I was with you. Open the window, let the trouble blow through. 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 Thank you.
That's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Let's see.
I have so many questions for you, actually. They come to me. They come to me. I'm going to wait.
No.
well,
That's because I have no idea what song to play next. Give me a question instead.
Well, I'm remembering there was a time when you used to tour Russia on the regular.
Yeah.
How about that?
It was really cool. I back like at the kind of beginning of when I started street performing and just was starting to like do gigs, I got this email from this very official sounding, strange voiced, good afternoon. I am Pavel Golovin, and I am representative Bad Taste Production of Moscow, and we would like very much to bring Jason Webley to Russia to make famous blah blah. It was this very strange.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend at the time was convinced that they wanted to steal my kidneys, or that these people weren't real. That I was going to. And I remember like getting off the plane, and they were these kids they were like maybe 5 years younger than me.
They were us.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of disappointing, even maybe.
No.
Okay.
No, it was great. Like, and then when they took my kidneys, I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
No. No. It was really lovely. Like, and yeah, Pavel Golovin was this guy Pasha, and his friend Sergei Sirozha was his like they grew up in one of those giant housing complex things that are just, it's like a, I don't know, it's the size of Everett, but it's it's just massive monolithic things, and they lived in the apartments like directly up and down, and they would like as like kids growing up, they had like a bucket system where they would like lower notes back and forth, and it was just such a wholesome, strange thing. And then they grew up, in the late 90s with perestroika and all of this, and with Yeltsin. Like, there was just all this tremendous feeling of like possibility and this sort of weird, anarchy. And just kind of anything felt possible for young people. And so these guys were like, let's let's start inviting bands we like to Moscow. And their first project was this group, the Tiger Lilies from the UK, that are like, they're not like super, super famous, but they're much more famous than I. And in this kind of weird genre that I at least was familiar with. And so that, and they had huge success. They like made these guys like massive stars in Russia.
Love it.
And then I was like their next project. And it sort of half worked.
Yeah.
Like there's like some cool like magazines of like there's a nice one with like Paul McCartney's first visit to Russia with like a picture of me underneath it that I've got hiding somewhere. Oh yeah. You know, like and I built this neat little following there and a lot of friendships. And actually it's a thing I think about, you know, about 10 years ago, I kind of retired from touring and performing just to sort of find out who I am when that's not how I interact with the world every minute. And I've gone back to Russia a few times since then, but as relations between the U.S. and Russia have kind of taken a Cold War-ish slip, I have this, like, am I going to see my friends again? And is it going to be weird when I do? Like, even the last time I was there, there were a lot of changes, you know, like, they were shutting down all these schools and turning them into military academies. The annexation of Crimea had just happened. I don't know. Russia's full of like awesome creative people. The world's full of, you know, it's just, like the kind of political layer of stuff is, it's just so interesting how that, you know.
Tell us a little bit about, let's not worry about the best. I mean, we'd love to hear about your best gig, but let's go with not the worst gig. You don't want to ask you what's a medium gig you had over there.
I don't know. I don't know if I've had bad gigs.
Well, that'll be easy then.
Bad gigs are fortunately rare. I've had some weird ones. This is a really good one. I got invited to this lady that used to run this club in Moscow for many years. She got hired by the wife of some oligarch to like be an arts director of this. There's this town. There's all these huge cities in Russia you've never heard of, like cities with millions of people, and you've just never heard of these places. This town is at its peak. I think it was like 1.5, 2 million people. It's still about 400,000 or 500,000, but it was a gulag. It's this like nickel smelting mine. It's this horrible place where they would send people to work till they died, basically. And it's called Norilsk. It's I think the largest population center above the Arctic Circle. And people in Russia, to them, that's like saying I'm going to the moon. Like, it's like, I'm going to go do a gig in Norilsk. And they're like, I don't know what the equivalent here would be. Yeah. Like, you know, Barrow, Alaska. Yeah. Although no one knows Barrow, Alaska here. It's anyway, so I got this lady was now working for this rich family that had taken over the town. And they were like, they're having this celebration of the 50-year anniversary of Norilsk, and we should just send Jason up. And I had to have all this like special, like this pile of paperwork. And like when I got, you know, off the, like even though it's in Russia and I already had a visa and was in Russia, because I didn't have a Russian passport, I got whisked off in a police vehicle, like, and isolated, and it was fun. And anyway,
at the biggest gulag in the Arctic Circle,
and I've been working there ever since. This is something what they sent back. No, it was. I don't. Yeah, the whole city is built on permafrost. It's really grim. And the lifespan there is like 12 years lower than the average Russian, like not just average, you know, human lifespan, but you know, and everyone's just visibly shorter. It's just like it's in it, you know, and the industry is like right there next to the town, you know, and on like some level, like, you know, there's questions of like, you know, when you're an artist, like, do you go and support a place where bad stuff's happening by performing? And I think that's like, I'm so not known that that didn't weigh into. Anyway, so I go. Like this gig wasn't a huge thing. It was this weird little thing in the public library, and they had like hooked me up with this Russian choir. And I remember the promoter was going back and forth with me, like what songs will you sing with Russian choir? And I'm like, I don't know. They're like I'm like, here are some songs of mine. Maybe do they want to sing this one or this one or this one? And I like a couple days later, I get this great email back, and it's like, Russian choir is very religious. They do not want to sing any songs with devil or drinking or like all the subjects, all the subjects of the songs I had sent. And we ended up agreeing on a couple Russian, like kind of not like traditional-ish, like old Russian songs, and maybe one of mine. But I remember there was this is a Russian song, and it was just one of those moments where you get on stage. This is before the choir joined me, but you get on stage and you just don't know how it's gonna go. Like you get on stage, there are all these people, and everyone's just like, and yeah, like very serious faces. And I remember I got up and I'm like, okay, and I do one of my like stompy accordion-y things, and I'm like, you know, like it kind of slow and it kind of builds, and then you can kind of feel it happen. Like somebody's like, yes. And something kind of shifts in the room, and it becomes this like caterwauling locomotive of energy that you somehow started but have no control over anymore. And I don't know, it was so that had established it was this really like lovely energy with the audience. And then this Russian choir came out, and they were all like these like older folks, and they were all dressed in like traditional outfits, and we did these Russian folk songs, and like some of them just like were weeping, and like I don't even understand. I remember the next day like walking down. This is another weird thing. The whole thing apparently was broadcast on TV, and like the city all watched it. I didn't know this, but this is the closest to like feeling like an A-list person I've ever felt in my life. We went to a restaurant afterwards, and the people in the restaurant all put down their utensils and stood up and went. I wouldn't say this is a good feeling. It felt, I mean, it was not a bad feeling. It was just very strange feeling. But I remember the next day, there was one of these old men in the choir. I so wish I'd kept in contact. I imagine he's not alive anymore. This is like 15, 18 years ago. I was just walking with my entourage, and this man was just coming the other way on the street, and he just was like so delighted. I did see him. We went back one time, and I did another thing with them. But this, I just remember like passing, and he just started weeping, and we embraced. And we couldn't speak the same language really at all. It's just something I'll never forget. This is the song we sang. It was from a Russian film. Oh, and it's my guitars.
My memory of chatting with Jason at that time was, he said, "Yeah, I'm having a good time over there. You know, it's a big country, so you know, I'm on the long overnight flights and long train rides. So you know, it's like you fly there, you sleep for 2 hours, and then you do a gig, and then you travel, and then you might sleep 4 hours the next night, and then maybe the third night you sleep 8 hours. But you know, I'm pretty good like that."
I'm no longer good like that. I've got some really good not sleeping in Russia stories. But крутится, вертится шар головой, крутится, вертится над головой, крутится, вертится, хочет упасть, кавалер варшния хочет украсть. Где эта улица, где это дом? Где эта варшня, что я люблю? Вот эта улица, вот это дом. Вот эта варшня, что я люблю. And this was my kind of contribution. Krutitje vetitje shargalu boy. Krutitje vetitje not galu boy. Krutitje vetitje kocheru pam. Zalitza ulitza da 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 da. Where is the ulitza? Where is the home? Where is the girl that I want for my own? This is the ulitza. Ulitza is a street. This is the home. This is the girl I want for my own, which I think is kind of darker in translation than the original, but more or less accurate. Anyway, that was kind of the thing. It was a yeah.
I love it. And the freight train rolls by here. You ever just strum a few chords and wait for something to hit you?
Never.
No,
never,
well,
never.
it works great. I mean, it generally works great. At the moment, it hasn't hit me yet, but I have confidence. And then you ever strum a few chords and think, geez, I really wish I had a song that started like that. I'm really kind of into that vibe, you know? Yeah, I was kind of into it, but I don't have a song like that, so we
could come up with one right now.
if I could have, I would have. I would. There's no doubt about it, but it wasn't coming to me. Afraid to get it right, not afraid to get it wrong, not afraid to fail, not afraid of freedom, I'm not afraid of going to jail, not afraid of slavery, and I'm not afraid of choice, not afraid of making the decision of using my own voice, but I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid it's true. Afraid of you. Not afraid of too much noise, not afraid of silence, not afraid of death, and I am not afraid of violence, not afraid of dying, and I'm not afraid of rebirth, not afraid of dreaming before what it is worth. I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid it's you. I'm afraid it's true. I'm afraid of you. Afraid of getting it wrong. Not afraid of success, I'm not afraid to sing Hank's song. Not afraid of the darkness, and I'm not afraid of the light. But when I lie alone in my bed at night, I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid it's true. I'm afraid of you. Love you too. I'm afraid it's true. Thank you. Well, we'll get another blast from Jason, and then it will be time to play Stump the Band. That's when you here in the live audience become part of the show, and you, at this point, are invited to think of a request, and much like English class when you were a junior in high school, you may get called upon, and you may not, but you are best off if you have an answer when the hand gets called. Otherwise, you don't want to be the person in the room who says, I haven't done the reading, but... You don't want to be that person. So be thinking of some requests. Now, they can be requests of songs we know, songs you know we know, songs you know we don't know, songs you don't know if we know or don't know. Anything goes, and there's going to be a total of 3 requests, and we'll do our best after we get one from Jason over here.
That's one of my favorite sounds. And it's best with more proximity. This is an Everett song. I grew up in Mukilteo. I live in Everett now. We're kind of straddling the two at the moment. But I don't know. It's weird that I live in Everett. Because I traveled everywhere for a long time and didn't really think I'd end up. I mean, with all respect, in some place of such questionable fashion. I've come to think it matches my fashion. But for years, when I was touring, I just told everyone I lived in Seattle. Oh, come on, Jason. This can be a really, really long story. I'll try to. A few years ago, one of my dear friends in San Francisco, Chicken John, that's a whole universe of stories. He showed me something. Actually, it was kind of the timing of when he showed it that was so interesting. A friend of mine, another world traveler performer, was visiting me here in Everett, and we were kind of driving around town. And she'd been here before, but this was like the most time she'd spent here. And she kind of noticed this pattern. Like, we drove on Rucker Avenue. We passed this Rucker Mart. We were on Rucker Hill. Somebody mentioned the Rucker Mansion. And while we were driving back to my house, we passed Rucker Avenue again. And my friend, being very observant, was like, what's up with Rucker? Who are the Ruckers? And I, having grown up around here and being, observant and interested in history, I said, I have no idea. But then I said, but there's something kind of cool. Do you want to see something weird? And I took her to Evergreen Cemetery, where up at the top of the hill, there's the pyramid. Has anyone here seen? Okay, good.
Not a lot of comments in comment land about that.
No, yeah. Well, but they could Google the pyramid at Evergreen Cemetery. Anyway,
the pyramid at Evergreen Cemetery.
So up at the top of the hill is this kind of insane thing. It's like a 40-some foot tall granite step pyramid that's like just like this ominous time blackened thing. And everyone in Everett that grows up kind of learn, like you go there to get stoned on Halloween or hide or and
they pass out the marijuana right there.
The ghosts and so across the top is just the single word. It's like pretty much unadorned. It just says Rucker. And so I show her this and she's like, whoa, cool. Can we climb it? And I'm like, well, yes. It's actually kind of slippery, and if you're on the top, it's pretty. But by then, she's like halfway up, and so anyway, we climb up on top of the stupid thing, and then a couple days later, we both fly down to San Francisco to perform at. It's the 60th birthday of Robin Hitchcock, another amazing singer-songwriter, and we went to be part of this event at the Great American Music Hall. And while there, I stayed with my friend Chicken John, and I had dinner with Chicken and his wife, and we're walking down the street, kind of catching up, and he mentions, he's talking about what he's doing. His life's really different. He is living in a house. He's married. I'm not touring anymore, and I tell him I'm fixing up this old house in Everett, and he just like freezes right in the middle of the street and kind of short circuits, and he's just like, wait, Everett, wait, no, Everett, wait, you live in Everett, because I've always told everybody I live in Seattle, and he just kind of like spirals there for a minute, and finally he's like, there's somebody you need to meet. I need to show you something. And so we go back to his house, and the whole way back to his house, he tells this story about from 20 years earlier, when he just moved to San Francisco from New York. He was living in his van, getting odd jobs, like moving shit around for people. And someone had hired him to get rid of a bunch of garbage. And then, so he had this van full of garbage. He spent all the money on alcohol, and he's driving around in the middle of the night looking for somewhere to dump the garbage illegally so he can lay down and sleep in his van, because I didn't mention the van's where he lives. And he's like driving around these little back streets, and he finds this giant dumpster in front of a little house and gets really excited, jumps out of the van, throws the dumpster open, and is distressed to find that it's pretty much full to the brim. But he's looking at the stuff in there. He's like, this is like decent furniture. Like, I could sell this. And so his plan is he's going to take all the furniture out of the dumpster, put it on the sidewalk, take all of his garbage, fill the dumpster, and then put the furniture in his van. The observant listener will note he still won't have a place to sleep, but so he gets done with phase one. He gets all the stuff out of the dumpster, and he's exhausted. It's like the middle of the night, like the wind is blowing, but it's hot, and like he's trying to light a cigarette, and the wind keeps blowing it out, and so he climbs into the dumpster as like a windbreak, and lights a match, and looks down at the floor of the dumpster at the last bits of crap that are lying there. And right there in front of him is this book, this like huge, oversized, handmade scrapbook with a leather tooled, like hand tooled cover. And right there next to it is a candlestick. And so he lights the candlestick, and he crouches down in the dumpster, and he reads through this book, and it's this document of a woman's life, a cradle to the grave document. It's the first page has her birth certificate, the last page has her obituary, and she's this beautiful woman who's born into privilege, and then all these like tragic things happen, and she was a poet. She wrote poetry, and throughout the book are clippings of publications of her poems, and he just kind of like is taken aback and falls in love with this person and throws it into his van. And for the next like 10, 15 years, every once in a while, like we'll like shove it in front of somebody and say, you need to see this. Like, I need you to meet somebody. A chapter of the story I'm going to leave out. He no longer has this book at this point, but he has made like a digital art. He'd taken a bunch of photos and made this slideshow of a bunch of the scrapbook with this, for some reason, this British woman narrating, and he shows this to me, and I'm watching it, and sure enough, the woman is born in, I think, 1906 in Everett, Washington, which is why he got so excited. And I watched the whole thing, and it's just like I described, like there's something about her life told through these. There's no like little written accounts. It's like newspaper clippings, documents, and photos, and these poems. And the cumulative effect is really beautiful. But the woman's name was Margaret Rucker. And I hold my tongue till the very end, where it has her obituary, and it says, interment will be at the Evergreen Cemetery, at the Rucker Mausoleum in Evergreen Cemetery. And I'm like, chicken, I'm pretty sure my friend Amanda and I were standing on her grave 36 hours ago. So I come back to Everett with like these images, and I go to the library to. Do any of you remember David Dilgard? Passed away a couple years ago. Our resident historian, and I don't know what I expected. I kind of thought he would be like, "Oh, this is interesting. Let me show you our Margaret Rucker wing," or like there'd be a bunch. So, brief Everett history. The city of Everett was this peninsula. Like you mentioned that there was a railway that kind of created this town. The Great Northern Railway, James Hill, the line that is still used today when you're coming from Chicago to Seattle, that train's the Empire Builder. That railway was heading east to west, and they did not, or at least they hadn't announced what the actual terminating route was going to be.
For the first run or every run?
No, I mean, well, where the tracks were going to go, and presumably where all the trains would
So
then.
the train is now going
Well,
through
no,
North
no.
Dakota, but they haven't yet decided where to build that last bit of track, and they got
I wasn't referring to a particular journey on the train, but rather the laying of the tracks. But
so when they were laying the tracks in North Dakota, going through
They did not
Minot and Wolf Point, Montana.
they did not know where the terminating point on the West Coast was going to be. And
That's a fun question. By the time they got to Browning, Montana, did they know?
yeah,
know?
I don't know, and I think there's a chance James Hill knew.
Yeah.
I think it's likely he knew, but he was. I think he played some people.
Yeah.
Anyway, there were a bunch of like sort of prospectors out here, kind of trying to figure out where that was going to be, and including a bunch of cronies of Rockefeller, who kind of like determined it was going to be here at the it was going to come through the pass and terminate where the Snohomish River met Port Gardner. And they convinced Rockefeller to invest, millions and millions of dollars in rapidly developing Everett. It was a boom town. Like there were electric streetcars, like in like the late 1800s here. It was, anyway, before all that, these two guys, and I mean just before that, like months before, Bethel and Wyatt Rucker, these guys from, I think, Wisconsin, came out here with a little bit of money and bought most of the peninsula that's now Everett on it. And they had submitted a plat, and were going to incorporate the town as Port Gardner. It was a very modest little plat. And like a few months later, these guys came knocking, being like, "We want to buy this peninsula," and the Rucker brothers. So they were here when all that money came in, and then they were here when it went away, because when the railway came, sure, it stopped in Everett first, but then it just continued right down to Seattle, which was already a much more established city even back then. And the rain's telling me to cut things short a little, but that's the town went bust. The Rucker brothers, though, were here before, during, and after all that. And I don't know if these were good guys, bad guys. They did a lot of business. They ran mills. They were white dudes that were a huge part of the founding of this city. There's not a lot of pictures or anything that have survived about them. But the younger brother had a daughter, Margaret, who left behind this scrapbook that my friend found in a dumpster, and who wrote a few beautiful poems. And me and some friends set that poetry to music a few years ago, and we did a big show at the Historic Everett Theater. At the end of the show, we marched about 900 people into the cemetery and lit the pyramid up with candles. And that's the train line that continues from Everett to Seattle, by the way, right now. Anyway, this is a song I wrote for that project. It's called Pyramid. And I'll mention that, Margaret Rucker grew up in this town where, like, the streets and they started building that pyramid when her grandmother died, which was, like, I think 2 weeks before she was born. And so I just, imagine what it's like to grow up in a town where, like, the streets are named after you, and where there's like this massive tomb with your name on it when you're a little girl growing up. She moved away, and this is the song. Tell me, Margaret, what is coming down this river? You've been watching so much longer now than I. Do you know, Margaret, just what will the day deliver? Does it work out tooth for tooth and eye for eye? They started stacking up these stones the very day that you were born. No matter how you grew, they still tower above you. And you can change your name, move all the way to sunny California. But when you start your life anew, does that long shadow follow you? Sure, that chord. Who was it, Margaret, chose to resurrect you here for me in scattered lines of poetry? These distant, wistful girls I see reflected in your eyes. Forgive me, Margaret, all the ways I am mistaken, all the liberties I've taken. I've projected you in costumes I don't think are quite your size. Here I'm climbing up these stones 100 years after you were born, looking for the song that could take me to you. I have traced these roads, drove past your home in Burbank, California. But you are not inside. You found a better place to hide. Tell me, Margaret, when I'm gone, what will I want? To be left at the bottom of the garbage bin, or dusted off, pulled up onto stage? And will it please me if someone lights a candle and says my name? Will I say, leave me in my pyramid, blow out the flame, close the lid, this story's done. Why don't you turn the page? Actually, that's a good place to end the song. There's some, but, yeah.
Jason Webley, thank you for that. I believe there are box set albums with books and such detailing sort of what the Margaret album.
There's a few copies left.
A few copies
but
left.
Not many.
Not many.
So don't really buy them. I'd like it to stay in print forever.
Thank you for that. Woo! When I knew I was coming to Everett, I knew who to call first, and luckily he picked up the phone. Jason Webley. Woo! Well, this is Robert Sarazin Blake from The Kitchen Table. This is The Kitchen Table. My name is Robert Sarazin Blake. David Pender Lofgren over there connecting the screens and the cables, the ones and the zeros, to bring our kitchen table to your kitchen table. And we are almost done with the show, but we still have a little bit of time to stump the band. So I'm going to call on you. We're going to see what we can pull off. Oh, wow. Bruce has recommended the lady to his left, so we're going to call on her first. Do you have a request for the band? Help from the Beatles. Or do you want to repeat the help I did earlier? You liked it so much you want another round. Okay, we're filing that option. And request number 2, let's see, is going to come from my cousin Dana. There we are. There we are. And request number 3 is going to come from one of our 2 hosts. Tom, what is your request? Wow. Oh. Excellent, excellent request here on this nautical day in this nautical town. Jason, you going to tackle one of those?
Are we not going to try it together? Although I think we might be living in different lands of key.
We're definitely different lanes of keys, but we have to decide which one we're going to tackle together.
I was going to do all three. Yeah. Help, somebody just asked me to play Twinkle, 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 Little Star when the ship comes in. No.
Oh, the time will come. I don't know any of them. I'm
I don't
lost on that one altogether.
And there'll be blah, 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 blah. Every day when the ship comes in. Something like that.
Yeah, we got something like that.
And I'll be it's something like that.
As one of our friends at the kitchen table says, you know, the worst part of the show is Stump the Band. When you see bands perform poorly songs they don't even know. Well, that is true, but we hope that the magic of the moment carries it. And I think if there's one guest I can count on to give us Twinkle Twinkle and make us feel good about it, I think that would land on you. I knew it.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. And as we sing this, can everyone just yell, help!
I need somebody.
C-D, little star. Yes, sir, yes, sir. L-M-N-O-P. I don't know.
Help! Thank you very much, everybody, for being with us here at the kitchen table. Wherever your kitchen table is, thank you for sitting down at it and spending this Sunday evening with us. Every Sunday, 5 o'clock here in Everett, 6 o'clock in Missoula, Montana, 7 o'clock in Minot, North Dakota, and, of course, 8 o'clock in New York City. I guess I'm in tune, but yet not. That was the thing there. I thought I was in tune, not. So let's just get it in the zone here. Thanks. Nice round of applause, please, everybody, for our friend Jason Webley. The incredible Margaret Rucker story, which includes Chicken John, dumpster diving, and furniture. And it's just, the story gets better every time I hear it, because the first time it's just like too much. And the second time you can actually hear it because it's not too, it's incredible. And what is there now a wing at the library that there wasn't before? Have they added on the Margaret Rucker wing?
There's a copy of the book there anyway.
the book that was found in the dumpster.
No, that doesn't exist. But
doesn't
the
exist
book we
anymore.
put together with all the images and the story of the thing.
Thanks to Tom and Ann for hosting us here. Thanks to my cousins Dave and Michelle and everybody being here in the live audience and everybody at home. What's happening next week? I don't know. I should know. I probably know. Yes, I know it's coming to me. It's coming to me. Next week would be the 12th, right? 13th. It's the 13th. That's right. We'll be back with the great Megan Yates will be our guest next week. Love Megan Yates. She'll be our guest next week. Looking forward to hearing her songs. I haven't seen her in about a pandemic, but we'll see her soon. Looking forward to that. I know when the pandemic hit and we were all locked in, staying home, I realized I can make one phone call to a friend today because we were all checking in on each other. But that turned out to be a lot of time on the phone, and it was important. But then it was like, I'm spending a lot of time. One phone call check-in a day. But then it slipped away. It slipped away as we all crawled into our own hole and thinking about things we're thinking about, reading things, our new activities, or just maintaining life. Some people were going to jobs and not having any change at all. All to say I haven't seen so many people in so long, but I can't see them all at the same time. One new friend a week is good right now. Work it back in because we're working up our muscles back of how to be social and how to be with people and not be anything other than we want to be. We like to close the show with this one right here, written by my friend Hank Waddell, who plays every Monday at Charlie's Bar in Cork City on the Quay, unless there's a pandemic. When you are in Cork City, go find Hank at Charlie's. Well, it's great to see you, because we thought you were dead. To get it back to life, to get out of your bed, it's great to see you. Or is that your ghost? We thought you were gone, burnt toast, it's great to see you. Whisper nothing, sing softly on your ear. Try not to cut short the moment that's here. Shadow it might be, the feeling's clear. I couldn't ask for anything more. It's all about the times we share. It's all about the times we share. So it's great to see you. Are you gonna stay? Are you here for the long night? Are you leaving at the break of day? It's great to see you. Yeah, it's true. It's great to see you. It's great to be near you. It's all about the times we share. You can sing that with us here. It's all about the times we share. Sing it for Margaret Rucker. It's all about the times we share. Sing it for everybody that we've lost in this pandemic. It's a lot of people. It's all about the times we share. Sing it for everybody who's suffering in this pandemic. It's all about the times we share. And sing it for hope that it will end and we will be able to gather and hug and kiss and be around and maybe even square dance someday again. It's all about the times we share. Jason Webley on my right, David Penderlofgren on my left. It's all about the times we share. We'll see you next Sunday from the kitchen table. Thank you very much, everybody.